The Thousand Worlds is an informal title given to a collection of science fiction stories written by George R.R. Martin. It includes many of his short stories, such as A Song for Lyre, Sand Kings, and Night Flyers, as well as his debut novel Dying of the Light and fix-up novel Tough Voyaging. In total, there are 21 published works that take place in the Thousand Worlds universe. In addition to these canonical works, there are an additional 3 semi-canonical works, entitled Only Kids Are Afraid of the Dark, The Lonely Songs of Laryndore, and A Song of Ice and Fire. These 3 works do not contain any obvious connections to the Thousand Worlds universe. They do not mention any shared events, worlds, or species. Also, they are primarily fantasy texts rather than science fiction. However, they do cite an element of mythology that appears in the canonical story and 7 Times Never Kill Man. Namely, they each contain references to a deity known as Bakkalon of Corlys, or the Pale Child. In the Thousand Worlds universe, this deity is worshipped by the Steel Angels, a military religious sect. It is unclear whether Martin is linking these stories into the shared canon, or if he is merely recycling a concept or offering a metatextual nod to a previous work. The 3 works and their connections are as follows. Firstly, Only Kids Are Afraid of the Dark, published in 1965. This is a fantasy superhero short story by Martin. It was his contribution to the comic book series Dr. Weird, created by Larry Herndon, Buddy Saunders, and Howard Keltner, and running from 1963 to 1972. Martin's story takes place in the realm of Corlys, an evil dimension of demonic horrors ruled by Sargiel. Sargiel is waiting to be unleashed upon Earth to destroy human souls. Jasper and Will, 2 treasure thieves that are fleeing from the natives of Corlys, seek refuge in the temple of Sargiel. While neither Bakkalon nor the Pale Child are mentioned, the story is set in the realm of Corlys, which in And 7 Times Never Kill Man is described by the Steel Angels as the mythical kingdom of Bakkalon. However, it should be noted that the Corlys in that story is nothing like the world described in Only Kids Are Afraid of the Dark. Martin states in the anthology Dream Songs that he created the deity of Bakkalon for future use in his contributions to the Dr. Weird series, but never ended up using it. Secondly, The Lonely Songs of Laryndore, published in 1976. This is a fantasy short story by Martin. It is about a lady named Shara who traverses the gates between worlds on a mysterious quest. These gates are guarded by the 7 dark gods. The story is about the brief time she pauses in the world of the lonely singer Laryndore. When Sarah expresses her desire to continue exploring other worlds, Laryndore warns her, quote, "Be careful how you go. Even your crown will not help you should they move on you directly. And the pale child Bakkalon will tear at you, and Naslas feed upon your pain, and Sargiel on your soul." End quote. Like Only Kids Are Afraid of the Dark, this story was meant to be an entry in the Dr. Weird comic book series, which may explain the reference to Bakkalon and Sargiel. Thirdly, A Song of Ice and Fire, first published in 1996 and ongoing. This is a series of epic fantasy novels by Martin. 5 novels have been published so far, with 2 more planned for future release. The series tells 3 main interweaving stories: a dynastic war among several families for control of the 7 kingdoms of Westeros, the rising threat of the supernatural others in northernmost Westeros, and the ambition of Daenerys Targaryen, the deposed king's exiled daughter, to assume the Iron Throne of the 7 kingdoms. The novels are extremely successful both critically and commercially, with 90 million copies being sold worldwide and the series being adapted into one of the most viewed television shows of all time, Game of Thrones. In the 4th book, A Feast for Crows, Arya Stark notices the statue of a pale infant with a sword on Braavos. She learns that this statue, the statue of Bakkalon, is most commonly visited by soldiers. In a preview chapter for the 6th book, The Winds of Winter, Tyrion Lannister mentions the Pale Child to Penny during the 2nd Siege of Meereen as being another name for death. In another preview chapter, Aaron Damphair has a nightmare of several foreign gods impaled upon the Iron Throne, which includes an image of the pale child Bakkalon. In the companion history book, Fire and Blood, Princess Lara Rogar of Lys, wife of Prince Viserys Targaryen, rejects the gods of Westeros and continues to worship only Lyseni gods, such as, quote, the pale child Bakkalon of the sword and faceless Sargiel, the giver of pain, end quote. If you would like to know more about the Thousand Worlds universe, please visit GRRM-1000-worlds.fandom.com.